Alright, welcome to my Perfect Amascut commentary video. I don't really want to call this a full guide since I only have my point of view as the base tank player, and there is a lot more that goes unseen on the inside chain rooms, for example. That said, after more than 15 hours of going for this feat, I like to think that I will also have a fair understanding of what my teammates' goals are within their respective roles as well. So I'll do my best to share any helpful insights and tips that ultimately help us complete this very difficult Grandmaster challenge. So first up, let's take a quick glance at the subset of achievements that are required to complete this challenge. First and foremost, we'll need to do all of these achievements at once during a single kill at 2000% enrage. Now arguably the most difficult sub-achievement is called Dedicated Denial of Standing. All players must avoid being hit by any of Amascut's shockwaves, soulfire lines, or hieroglyph attacks. There are continuous sets of these floor mechanics that spawn on the inside chain rooms, on the outside of the arena during phases 2, 4, 6, and on the floor during phase 7. So basically, perfect dodging and perfect movement just to get us started. Next up is what I would say is the second hardest sub-achievement, and it's deceptively tricky. Step Aside Scarab. No player can ever take damage from a Scarab Ock. That means that in phases 1, 3, and 4, we'll have to clear the room of all Scarab spawns. And additionally in phase 4, we'll need to be very intentional and very attentive to our Scarab killing and our Scarab throwing. Besides these two achievements, the rest of the sub-achievements are actually very simple, but they still need to be executed properly. So we are never allowed to take reflect damage from a crocodile, which just means that we can't use thresholds or ultimate abilities on them. And we're also not allowed to ever take damage from gorillas. So we'll just entangle all of the gorillas on phases 2 and 4. We'll need to do a 1-cycle charge in phase 5, and we'll also need to block Amascut's blast attacks and shield Tumeken correctly during phase 5. In phase 6, we'll need to click each and every small green orb shadow tear to dismiss them. And lastly in phase 7, we'll need to provoke the correct statue. So the last 4 are fairly simple. They're pretty normal, stuff that you would do in a normal kill. It's really those first 2 achievements that are so tricky to do under all of the pressures that come with a 2000% enrage kill. So now that we know what to look out for, let's take a look at the actual kill. I might speed up, slow down, or even pause the footage as needed during the explanations, but if I do, I'll also leave the full unedited kill at the end of the video, and I'll leave timestamps in the description. So phase 1 has a pretty normal start, just opening up with a stalled meteor strike, exekill, and Stashy's Warhammer spec, then trying to do our best damage during our sunshines. We also have one necromancer on the team who is applying Lord of Bones and also doing big damage. Towards the end of the sunshine, the first set of scarabs is going to spawn in, and typically you would want to ignore them. You would use barricade to mitigate the damage, and you would keep DPSing Amascut. However, even if we block all of the damage with barricade, any scarab that explodes fails this challenge. So instead we're going to need to kill every single scarab. To do that, my teammates will divide up and take responsibility for 4 separate sections of the arena. 1 player for the west, 1 player midwest, 1 mid-east, and 1 player far east. They'll start by diving onto as many scarab burrows as they can in order to prevent them from spawning in the first place. After diving, and once they're in their final positions, the rest of the scarabs are going to spawn in, and they can use things like Carrying Chain with Deep Impact, or Threads of Fate and the Death Guard special attack to quickly clear out big clusters of scarabs. As the base tank player, I'm not actually particularly useful with clearing scarabs, so I stay in place and I focus on Amascut. The base tank at this point in time is basically just being resurrected after taking the big bend the knee attack, and if the base tank does go too far away from Amascut will be enraged by our cowardice and drag in the whole team towards her, which, as you can imagine, that would really hinder clearing scarabs. So unless there are any scarab spawns that are really close to me, I'm just letting my teammates take care of scarabs here. The rest of phase 1 after this is going to be very normal. At the start of phase 2, we'll want to entangle the gorilla so that it can never attack us. Typically people would like to melee the gorillas on faster kills, but speed is not the objective here. So keep your distance, entangle the gorilla, and kill it with either magic or necromancy. We'll also kill the crocodiles as normal, just by using basic abilities to avoid failing that portion of the challenge. Now in phase 2, unfortunately I can't share that much insight on how my teammates are handling their inside chain rooms, but they're going in on the inside rooms in pairs of 2 on either side, and their focus is really just dodging all of those floor mechanics while killing chains. I'm just standing outside and I'm ready to place prisms so that they can teleport when they come outside. I'll try to place the prisms in the same locations each time, and I'll place multiple just so that I give my teammates extra options for their mobility. It's definitely not necessary to place as many prisms as I am here, but in all things, I've always had the mentality of rather have and not need than need and not have. Now when it comes time for running the light, this can be a really big hurdle and a really big reset point. So one strategy we found helpful was to only have one player run the light at first. That way, that first player is the only one who's taking risk while running across the arena, dodging floor mechanics, and is without their mobility abilities. The second runner will wait on the inside room until the first runner deposits their light. After the first light is deposited, Amascut is going to become staggered and attackable once again, and no more floor mechanics will show up for a little while. That's going to make that second run completely safe. Doing this, the second runner does lose out on a little bit of their damage window, but it's a very safe and very effective approach to both phases 2 and 4 light running. So now that we're safely through phase 2, we'll just do our best damage during the stagger, and phase 3 will be very similar to phase 1. Just now, we'll have the added pressure of having the soul fire waves on the floor. So we must all perfectly dodge those and do our best damage at the same time. When scarabs come out, once again, the other 4 teammates will divide up into their sections, dive on all of the scarab burrows first, and then kill any that spawn in. For the players that have to cut across the arena, they found it helpful to bring an acceleration potion to safely surge dive surge over to the other side without ever risking accidentally stepping on any of the soulfire waves on the floor. So in this case, I like to base tank on the east side of Amascut, so the DPS pile will be standing on the west. Those 2 players who are responsible for the east scarabs are going to have to cut across to get to the eastern scarabs, and they'll have a slightly trickier time doing that speedily and safely. So that's where that power burst of acceleration might come in handy. It's also very important that all 4 players remember to keep playing safe and continue to dodge soulfire waves once they're making their way back into their DPS positions after killing all of the scarabs. Once that's done and all scarabs are clear, we'll proceed with the phase as normal, just trying to do our best damage and hopefully hitting the phase HP cap of 4.8 million. On to phase 4, and this was by far the trickiest part of the whole challenge for us. The significant majority of our failed and our reset attempts came from this phase. So the things that make this phase 4 trickier than phase 2 are notably the introduction of explosive scarabs and the short time limit before the team gets insta-killed. So as usual, we'll need to entangle the gorilla and kill the scarab to throw at the gorilla in order to drop the gorilla's shield. It is very important that we never let any additional scarabs blow up, so we need to be very intentional and very careful with our scarab killing. It can be very helpful to dismiss your zombie conjure if you're a necromancer, and not to use bloat. If you're a major, it can be very helpful to switch to the exsanguinate spell instead of Insight Fear. If there are ever any extra scarabs, you can throw them directly at Amascut to keep yourself in contention for the achievement. So even though you're trying to play more slowly and methodically during this phase, you will need to keep a balance of playing fast enough and aggressive enough that you'll finish the phase before the insta-kill timer runs out. Otherwise, it's all been for nothing. So my teammates do a really good job of finding that balance of playing safe on the inside rooms, but also doing enough damage to kill everything quickly enough and still run the light on time. Meanwhile, I'll be on the outside trying to kill dogs without using too many AoEs so that I'm not risking aggroing or killing extra scarabs, and I'm also placing prisms by both statues. We're going to take the same approach as phase 2, where only one light runner is going to come out at a time. They'll be the one who takes the risk of dodging waves, and once they deposit, the second light runner can come out during the stagger window with a fully safe run free of all of the floor mechanics. While we're DPSing Amascut, we are doing a visual check if any scarabs were accidentally aggroed or if they ever got under Amascut. So I usually like to use my Tumeken's light special attack here to really quickly clear out any of the dogs and get rid of some of that visual clutter around Amascut. This would better reveal if any scarabs were aggroed and got close to Amascut. Now the phase might seem over, but the final, very scary portion of phase 4 is just about to start. We don't want to instantly hit the HP cap on Amascut. Instead, we're going to get off of Amascut a little bit early, and then we start killing some of the scarabs that are around the arena. Remember, we can't just barricade at the start of phase 5. We're going to need to get rid of all of these scarabs outright. So getting off of Amascut early and killing them now just is going to give us a little bit of extra leeway where there won't be so many scarabs to throw away at the start of phase 5. They do have pretty short fuses before they blow up, so anything that we can get rid of now is going to be a really big help when phase 5 starts. When it comes to getting rid of those scarabs, you can either throw them directly at Amascut, you just need to be careful not to miss since her click box is pretty slender, or you can throw them south out of the arena altogether. If you do that, you need to ensure that the scarabs all go past the staircase, and once all of the scarabs are thrown out, you'll need all players to move far north to get out of the proximity of the scarab blasts. We have actually had multiple failed attempts because a player was too far south, and even though the scarabs were thrown out of the arena, dealing 0 damage to us, they were still in proximity for the hit effect to register and fail the achievement. So you see us here all go north and just wait a moment before starting P5 properly. Phase 5 is nothing so special, it's just a normal 150% charge 1 cycle method. We're just taking this chance to take a deep breath, get a mental reset, because the biggest challenge is now behind us after overcoming phase 4 and scarabs. Towards the end of charging all of the batteries, I usually like to get a Tumeken's light special attack here and Berserk to help quickly clear all of the dogs whenever the name calling section begins. You will need the player whose name was called to block properly in order to protect Tumeken here and complete that sub achievement for the perfect feat. In phase 6, the most important objective is to click all of the small green engulfing shadow balls. So the best strategy for this is to take the climb a little bit slower than normal and have one player standing on the glyphs down on the floor. It'll be really important to really focus on clicking every single ball rather than doing damage to the core. It is random who will climb during a 2000% enrage kill, and in our successful kill, I was the climber. The main parameter that we set for ourselves was to take about 2 to 3 abilities worth of time to kill each mage on each platform. You can see that while I'm climbing, I'm also sometimes maneuvering my camera to try and glance down at the arena and get a little bit of a sense of when my teammates have clicked all of the orbs, so that I can kill my next platform guardian and spawn in more orbs. I don't want to go too fast and have all balls spawn in at once, and I also don't want to go too slow to get insta-killed. So there is a little bit of a balance there, but about 2 to 3 abilities per guardian with a glypher downstairs seems to be the sweet spot. One really important tip for the players who are not climbing and are clicking balls is to stay away from Amascut. Normally it's logical to want to go behind Amascut early and start pre-building for the clones. But if you go too close to Amascut too early, you can actually risk having some of the green balls spawn underneath her, which might be too difficult to see and too difficult to click in time. We did have one failed attempt due to a ball spawning directly under her, and since the ball spawns are proximity based off of nearby players, it's good to try and avoid standing too close to Amascut until all of the balls are clicked. We'll handle clones as normal, maybe playing a little bit extra safe due to the nerves of having such a deep attempt. But it's much more important to have everyone alive and safe and do a little bit less damage than be dead and sorry. Throughout this whole perfect challenge, there have been some objectives that take attention away from doing full damage, like killing scarabs or clicking balls instead of focusing on the core, which makes the black HP bar higher. So if you don't get perfectly to the 600,000 HP cap mark, it's really not that big a deal. But of course, the closer you are to the HP cap, the better. And here we did really well overall to get under 1,000,000 HP. Anything under 1,000,000 HP was really the main target that we had to have a really easy phase 7. With 5 players using Berserk and Exekill specs, you can kill phase 7 fast enough that no floor mechanics will ever even show up, regardless of which God Altar gets called. So that's what we did here. Phase 7, big Berserk, big Exekill, big Overpower, Dragon Claws, and basically just full commitment to big melee damage and finishing off a brutally difficult and nerve-wracking challenge. And there you have it. Hopefully there's some useful or interesting information in this video for anyone hoping to go for this achievement in the future. I actually had a lot of fun with this one. It was really rewarding to grind and to complete this with my pals. So big shout out to the team who ultimately got it. Accident, Arc, Hotstreak, and Sator. And also a shout out to some of our other gamer pals who came for other attempts to grind and learn with us. So shout out Chikorita, Master Tivan, and Prevented. Really cool achievement overall, and I'm looking forward to the unorthodox grind, but that's going to be it for this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you like high level PVM content like this. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.
Okay, fully commit. Keep committing.
Melee. Yes!
Good shit, guys. Good shit.
Oh my.
Yes.
Good fucking.
See, guys, it was that simple the entire time.
I know, right?
Dude, accident. Hold on. So
Yeah.
anyone said UO?
No, frick that, man.
I'm honestly down to just try it for the memes.
Low key, we probably would have gotten it in the time we spent getting this one.
honestly.
Surely RNG is enough for that one, right?